So here we are at the very beginning of our kit build, and here we are at the factory. This is the Titan aircraft factory where they make the Titan Tornado and also, of course, the T-51 Mustang. And the T-51 Mustang starts out like this. It's a complete fuselage that is welded together from both round and square tubing, completely done so that we don't have to do anything when it comes to like a jig or worry about how straight things are going to be. The really hard work has been done here at the factory, and it's very exciting to be able to see. In this case, we're seeing half because, as you can barely see behind it, there's a second half of the fuselage. The front half gets mated, and that makes it easier for shipping because we don't have to ship something that is essentially 26 feet long or close to that. And so what you're seeing here is going to be the basis of everything that we do over this entire build. And so soon you'll see this come off a truck, you'll see it move, it'll be powder coated, which is really exciting, and it'll all start its build inside the SocialFlight house with our entire build crew. So we're really excited about that, and we'll go into some of the details here when we take a look at a partial build, which is right over to this side. So we're going to shift to that in just a minute. Okay, so when we see our actual kit, this entire fuselage structure that we have here, which is the front half of the fuselage, will be beautifully powder coated and prepared for us to start work. And this section will become what we have behind. So let's take this and roll this one out of the way and talk about what we're going to be building next. And so from firewall to tail, this is going to be the majority of our build because this is where all the systems are. This is where the controls are. This is where the structure that takes place and really makes this look like a T-51 Mustang. All right, so if we take a look at what's going in this partially built fuselage right now, and we start here, we got the firewall, and from behind the firewall we get into the cockpit itself, which of course, the business office of the T-51. Now, this is the pilot's seat section. The canopy here is installed now. This happens to be a B model as opposed to the D model, and that means that this doesn't have the bubble canopy that the version of the T-51 that we'll be building does, but it's still a really good demonstrator platform for what we're going to be doing and what some of the systems are. And so the seat is an adjustable height mechanism that's built right into this section. This is going to become the instrument panel, including this center section down here for engine instruments, etc. And we have already in this version, we have the control stick in place. Now, if you look forward here, you'll be able to also see the rudder pedal assembly and the master cylinders for the brakes. And what's really cool about this is that these are adjustable. So while the seat is adjustable in height, the rudder pedal and brake system is adjustable in terms of being able to be further back or shorter for shorter pilots, be able to be brought in for shorter pilots or extended. And there's a mechanism here that we just push, and then this whole assembly moves down here, or this whole assembly can be adjusted to pull forward. Okay, so now we're at the midsection of the fuselage. This is where the passenger goes in. Now it's interesting because you take a look at a 3/4 scale T-51 Mustang, and at first glance it doesn't necessarily look like there is a spot for a passenger. But I can assure you from having flown in the rear seat, there's plenty of room for a rear passenger, and it is a delight to fly even from the rear seat. As we go back here, again, height adjustable seat that we would have the bubble canopy if it were that version of the T-51. And now we have the option here of the fiberglass belly scoop. Takes a lot of work out and really has some fantastic curves to it that are exactly what the original P-51 Mustang has. And this is all being clecoed in place and fitted as well. If we take a look now through this section, we can actually see this is the hydraulic pump. This is what's used for the gear system of the T-51, and there's a primary battery. And then if we rotate back towards the tail section of our build, we find that we have the tail wheel. It's a retractable aircraft, which is not just retractable for the main gear, but the tail wheel retracts as well, including the gear doors. Again, just like a P-51 Mustang did. And moving back, there's also a section at the very tail of the aircraft where an auxiliary battery is installed. This is another option that we have on our aircraft, and that's very important because we don't want to have a single point of failure in our aircraft as much as we can control that. And having an automotive engine installed, that means we don't have magnetos. Without magnetos, power is necessary for the engine to continue to operate, and so having a backup battery is extremely important in that. And we've located that as part of the way that it's designed into the T-51 at the actual rear of the tail, because that really helps in CG, and that's important for the aircraft as well. And then you can see in this fuselage kit, we've also got the vertical stabilizer in place, and so truly a complete setup. Okay, so that's a brief overview of what goes into one of these T-51 Mustang fuselages. Next up, I'm gonna fly out to Ohio, grab a truck, load up the kit, and get it back here to Massachusetts, where then we've got to get it into our home workshop so that we can start work and show you what happens as we start building this aircraft. Until then, be sure to check out SocialFlight.com and the SocialFlight mobile apps. There's tens of thousands of aviation events happening, many of them right in your backyard. And you might even run into some of the SocialFlight team members at one of your local events. So until then, this is Jeff Simon from SocialFlight wishing you blue skies.